This is Sports Rage. I am Morency. We got Ian Cameron stepping up and in. We got our AM radio affiliates going to join us in a couple of moments. I did want to get a little baseball talk in here, but George, what are your best bets? What do you like this week in the National Football League?
Yeah, I guess you can't call me Captain Short this week, all right? Because I'm taking a lot of the underdogs here. I think Joe Flacco is going to be in trouble on Saturday. He's thrown the most touchdown passes since he's come back. He also throws a ton of interceptions. Can't do that in the playoffs against decent teams. I think Houston's a decent team. I think they cover here. The game Sunday night, my favorite bet's the under. I mean, come on. And you hear Pat Mahomes today say he's not going to wear gloves. It's minus 6 degrees. You're wearing gloves, all right? You can't throw the football without it. I think it's an under. I don't know how Miami scores here. It's going to be a running fest there. I was talking with Scott Wetzel yesterday in Game Live. We tried to build a parlay. And I'm like, well, if you're building a parlay, Buffalo has to be a part of it, right? Because that's the one team I think wins easily this weekend. But now the weather in Buffalo sucks too, right? It's going to be like in single digits here. So now it's a runathon. You know, whoever can run the ball better here. Still like the Buffalo Bills there in a parlay. I already said about Dallas. I like them over Green Bay. I think that Detroit Rams game is very similar to Dallas and Green Bay. It's a track meet. There's going to be a lot of points scored there. The over. I like the Rams. I just like the Rams. I think they're the same team. I really think they're the same exact team here. Aaron Donald versus Hutch. Who could make the big play here? And speaking of Hutch, David Sewell passed away this week. Just awful. And Monday night, I don't know. The Eagles are broken. I just think the players don't like the coaching staff, man. Give me the Bucks. Give me the Tampa Bay Bucks to cover, and the Eagles to maybe once again that Eagles fly, crash and burn, guys, crash and burn. Go Bucks.
I said the same thing, George. That there's problems in the room. It's not like they're just going to flick the switch. There's people that just want the season to be over. Shout out to everyone joining us on Sirius XM channel 159. This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency. Couple of minutes left with George Kurtz here, and let's just squeeze a little baseball talk in. It's to the point, guys, where the Los Angeles Dodgers sign players and announce this like the government does tax hikes in the middle of the night, right? Like the Dodgers announced Teoscar Hernandez is signing late during an NFL football game.
Yeah.
Like late, it's like Sunday night. It's like Sunday night. It's like the weirdest thing ever. Sunday night, like 11:30 Eastern Sunday night. Breaking news, Dodgers signed Teoscar Hernandez. And it's almost like they don't want people to know. But what do you think about that, Kurtz? Because I always thought I wanted to bring Bellinger back. I don't think it wasn't going to happen for various reasons, obviously. But I like it. It was a one-year deal, $23.5 million. Plugs another hole, gives them another bat in the outfield. Now this is a pretty complete lineup right now.
Oh yeah, and it was such a hurting lineup before they did. Right?
I know, but now they had another all-star bat, though.
It's ridiculous. It's just a plethora of wealth.
It's a softball team. It's one of those softball teams you see on Sunday with all the beefy guys that can hit the ball, 500 feet here. I think it's what I find funny about all of this. I don't know if you heard, Gabe. The politicians, they want to change the laws now. Go get deferred money, right? And it's all about the Dodgers, because the Dodgers owe someone. It's more than just Ohtani. It's like $850 million in a 12-year span of deferred money.
For the record,
and now the legislators want to go after
George
it.
is stating the state controller, the accountant, the state controller of California, basically wants to change the state laws because of Ohtani's contract. That's how much ripple effect that it had. That basically, he's kind of got a point. You know what I mean? He's basically saying that, listen, this guy's going to make $700 million to play in LA, yet he's not going to pay anything on it. But he beat you to it. You can't change the rules now. I guess moving forward you can. Right? But yeah, that was interesting. I also found it fascinating, George, your Yankees only on Sunday Night Baseball 3 times. Now, they only released the schedule up to late August, and then the rest is made up on the go. That was surprising to me. Guys are slipping, bro. 3 times only, George. Normally, you're on 3 times in the first 4 weeks.
You're slipping,
That is
bro.
weird. I thought the same thing when I saw the schedule. Like, why? With Soto and Judge alone, you would have thought that's a pretty good, a pretty good reason to be on Sunday Night Baseball. Listen, I'm the first person to tell you right now. I'm not sure the Yankees are a playoff team. They have no rotation. All right, after Cole, it's really glue, duct tape, and let's hope we can string it together. I think they'll.
How much Dodgers, Gabe? How many games do the Dodgers have?
Dodgers,
Every week?
Rangers. Oh,
Yeah.
Dodgers,
Yeah,
Cubs, and
that's
Rangers.
why.
They're all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the Yankees, the big talk here is that the Yankees are going to sign Stroman, which I think is going to be an awful signing. I don't want to root for this guy. I don't want this guy anywhere near the Yankees. But that's the big talk here, that the Yankees and Stroman are close.
The Dodgers are on pretty much every couple of weeks. They open up. Listen, I want to see. The season's not that far off, actually. This year, it starts earlier, like a lot earlier. Normally, it's always April and stuff. But, the Dodgers and San Diego were playing in Korea in 69 days. So it's that close. Less than 70 days away, the start of the Major League Baseball season, depending East Coast, West Coast right now. So it's coming up. Oh, here we go. Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, the Pips, the Players, the Hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. Shout out to all of our AM radio affiliates that join us, including the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal in the house. Let's do this thing. Kind of a slow sports day today, actually, for everybody tuning in. If you didn't know what was going on, nothing really happened today besides, I don't know, like a bunch of Hall of Famers and like 100 trillion years of coaching experience got thrown under the bus and or retired. Pete Carroll is out in Seattle. Nick Saban is out in Alabama. Different circumstances. Ironically enough, the same age. Different circumstances. Nick Saban decides to retire and step down. Reports are that Nick Saban basically just doesn't like the direction of college football, i.e. he's not the dominant coach and team anymore. So let's call it out for what that was, right? The whole NIL stuff. And you see this, man, like college coaches, guys, the old school dudes, they have a hard time adapting to this stuff. It was a hell of a run for Saban, but it's fascinating to me, the domino effect that's going on. Pete Carroll didn't see it coming. Pete Carroll walked into the end of the season meeting, was enthusiastic about the upcoming draft, and was told that he's not going to be the coach next year. Now, all kinds of rumors. Who's going to be the coach of Seattle? Who's going to be the coach of Alabama? The big talk for Alabama is, sorry, Oregon, you're about to lose your coach, Dan Lanning. Listen, reports are that the Alabama powers that be have had their eye on Lanning for a couple of years, and they think that he's like kind of some sort of future sort of star coach. Of course, he was with the Georgia Bulldogs. Alabama tried to hire Lanning before as well as an assistant. And word is that the athletic director is not going to be denied this time, that's the guy that he wants. Mike Norvell's name is popping up. Dabo Swinney was always the guy that everybody always assumed would take over. Dabo played at Alabama. People just sort of assumed, all right, he'll be Dabo's the kingpin of Clemson, and I don't even, I think they want Dan Lanning. So just for the record. We got Ian Cameron stepping up in it. NFL playoffs and more. Let's roll.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
So right now, he's a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division
favorite. I don't care if they win, because all we care about is the money, baby, the money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
San Francisco minus 120 to win the NFC Championship. It's the Cowboys with the second best number. The Eagles at 7-1.
What the hell's the difference between the 6 and the 7 seed? I need my guys healthy here to make a playoff push. They took the bye week and still won the football game. You want to talk about two franchises going in the wrong direction? The Eagles, ridiculous what they did this week.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of fun to do because you could kind of, place a season-long bet all at once and just wait it out. I've always found that interesting. But New York is one state where it's a little bit unclear.
You cannot bet on basically anything that requires a vote. So you're talking about an MVP award, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, anything where people at the end of the year have to vote.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Bills going on the road to Miami Gardens, knocking off the Dolphins as 3-point favorites. They win it 21-14.
You want to lose like the Falcons did today, 48-17? That's probably bothersome. You want to win an ugly game where you throw 3 picks, but you end up winning the division? No one cares. Ain't nobody going to be talking about interceptions in the end zone tomorrow. You know what they're talking about? Hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers next weekend in the playoffs.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, let's do this thing. This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Shout out to everyone joining us in beautiful Southern California. Last hour of the program, the Money 1090 steps up and in. Used to be the whole show, but, we've got, our time change and stuff. And you got live events and everything else, but it's all cool. So shout out to everyone joining us. We were just saying, I know there's a ton of football stuff going on. Pete Carroll is out. Nick Saban's done in Alabama. Matt Eberflus is coming back in Chicago, which to me means that they're not taking Caleb Williams. And I'm willing to bet, all my takes, I'm willing to put my money on them. And it's minus 225 right now. And I think the number will come down. You got to wait. We're not going to get paid until a deal is made and or the draft, etc. But it's minus 225 that the Chicago Bears select first overall. And it's plus 165 that's going to be another team. And let me just quickly remind you that the Niners traded up for Trey Lance. The Bears traded up for Mitch Trubisky. The Panthers traded up, all right? The Panthers traded up for Bryce Young. You don't think that the Bears are going to have numerous offers for Caleb Williams and the first overall pick in this draft, and they won't have to move far down. Like, if you're Washington, it's perfect. Caleb Williams is from D.C., you slide up one spot. Chicago moves down one spot. Chicago gets next year's first pick, next year's third pick, next 2 years this and that, right? They're going to be able to sting somebody, and or you have the New England Patriots who are drafting third. They could move up. There's a lot of scenarios that are going on, but I personally think that was a message that Eberflus is back, that Fields is going to be back as well with the Chicago Bears, and then of course. We've got the actual games coming up this week. Ian Cameron, a.k.a. Babano, steps up and in to join us. Let's get his best bets and more. What's going on, Babano? How you doing tonight?
Yeah, great to be here, and great that the playoffs are finally here. I'm ready for it. The long regular season, fun regular season, but time to get some playoff NFL football going.
All right, so you are one of the ice guys, Babano. Colorado Avalanche leading the Vegas Golden Knights 2-0. Right now, early in the third period of play, in-game number, guys, you can get the Vegas Golden Knights plus 2.5, Cam. Right now, the total is 4.5 in this game. Vegas are plus 750 on the money line. Colorado are minus 1,400 on the money line. Obviously, the puck line would be the way to go here. You can get 2.5 with the Vegas Golden Knights, and the total is 4.5. What do you think about this in-game?
I would take Vegas at plus 2.5. It's only 10 cents. And if you like Vegas at 2.5, the game was probably going to go over the 4.5, plus 105. I think they can come back. Plus 850 is very tempting. Calgary came back for us last night and won by 3. The Coyotes won, Gabe. This game is not over. I'm actually surprised, though, that Vegas has no goals in this game. Colorado's been giving up and scoring, but 2-0 defensive game in Colorado tonight. But I would look at Vegas at plus 2.5 with very little juice.
What do you think of this game, Babano, Vegas and Colorado right now?
Well, pregame, I'm on the Avalanche team total, over 3.5, which was a nice price. It was plus 110, which I thought was a nice bargain here for a team that's been scoring goals. And I felt, because I thought Colorado would probably play well tonight, because they got embarrassed, if you remember, by Vegas 7-0 back in November in Vegas, and figured Colorado would bring a strong effort, but that they'd also get to 4 goals. I think they put up enough shots and quality chances in this game to score 4 goals already. But Yuri Patera, emergency starter here for Vegas, because Aiden Hill was not ready to play. He's played well, and he actually played well in Florida a few weeks ago. He was the only reason that game wasn't 7-1 against the Panthers. So he's played well. I like the over live in this game, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to get greedy and wait for a 3.5. See if I can get that number at even a minus 140 price. I'd probably get in on it at that time.
I like where you're going with that. As Cam stated, too, there's still a lot of hockey left. There's 17 and a half minutes left. I like your style, though, Babano, waiting for that 3.5. Let's wait. And it's moving quickly. Like the 4.5 has just gone from plus 105 to plus 125 in the last 3.5 here.
3.5 opened at minus 280 at the start of this period. It's already down to minus 220. So you just wait, you wait for it to drop a little further, and then you can lock it in.
Speaking of totals, I don't know. Are you betting the PWHL, Babano?
I have only bet one game this year, and it was a winner. It was Toronto. When they lost to New York the first game, and I took Toronto in New York in the rematch, I said, it's a short turnaround revenge spot. They got the job done. The road teams have been good so far in the PWHL. That's it. I haven't gone back
one
and looked
game
again at the other teams.
So you've retired one win.
Very selective.
You're going to retire 1-0?
Very selective. No, just being very selective.
Right. Yeah. League's over. Winning record. That's great.
I'm up to 4-0 now in this league.
Wow.
That's
4-0. Yeah,
good.
but I'm just taking the under every time. I've taken 2 5.5s, and then they've adjusted. Babano, the first 5 games of the league went under 5.5.
Yes.
Okay. Then the book got tired of it. So they basically the first 5 games were 5.5. Then they started going to 4.5. So there was you had basically a 2-day window, to the opening games. And then the book was like, all right, congratulations, all you under players. You all just went 5-0, but we're making it 4.5. And I've been stubborn. I'm like, okay, you're giving me 4.5 plus money. I'm coming in. I'm taking the under. I had a heart attack tonight, Babano. It was 3-1. Minnesota beat Toronto tonight. The goalie on Minnesota made 30 saves. I don't know how many saves she made. Toronto, every time I looked up, Toronto was hitting a crossbar or something. I don't know how the game stayed under, but it did. There was one that went over tonight, but for whatever reason, that was the one that wasn't posted online. I don't know why, what the deal was with that, but something to keep our eye on, guys, with this 4.5 and how far we can go with it. But you just said something, Babano, because I watched Toronto play tonight, and we know that Sarah Nurse is a great player. She scored.
Yes.
I watched them play tonight. They were they were good. They shouldn't have lost 3-1. They were buzzing around and stuff. I told Cam earlier, I said, I don't even know what they're playing, bro. I'm betting on Toronto at their next home game when they go back home, like you did in the bounce back spot. They're a good team. They just they got bad puck luck, but I'm going to bet on them when they get back home.
Well, they've already showed they can bounce back off a loss, which they did when they lost to New York, and they beat New York in the second game. So we know they can respond when they don't win the previous game. And I still think that's a pretty good roster when you think about that. Blair Turnbull, actually, on the Toronto team is very good. Minnesota is the one team in this professional women's league that's been good on home ice. They have a legitimate home ice, Minnesota.
Yeah, they got
the crowd
13,000 people there and stuff. Yeah, it's real.
Nuts. Land of 10,000 lakes, hockey fans. No, that's the thing.
Well, they're big on hockey.
That's the one team you want to bet at home. Here in this league.
That's the thing that always baffled me, Gabe, because the Minnesota Wild at the XL Energy Center, next to Boston in the United States, it is the biggest hockey hotbed. Everyone, Minnesota, Duluth, Golden Gophers, you talk about it, Minnesota, St. Cloud, all these schools there, but it's just that the Wild have been so pedestrian, I guess, or average, that they even get frustrated. Minnesota's a hard luck city when you look at their sports teams. Maybe the ladies will come through.
They're the team to beat early.
Yeah,
they look
they're
good.
the team to beat early.
Let's see them on the road.
They do.
They're
good. Yeah, they're very good goalie though. Like I said earlier, it's basically all just Team Canada and Team USA split up into teams, but it's quality hockey. Like it is good. Like the pace is fast.
Patrick for Montreal.
She's awesome. That girl's wicked.
Oh yeah, she's a great player. That's, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. We'll change the subject. I didn't plan on spending this much on a PWH. I'll just bring it up for bettors out there.
People are listening. Go, what the hell are these turkeys?
You never know what we're going to talk about on Wednesday
California.
night.
They're like, Mary Poulin.
Don't worry, in Southern California, you can bet on it. If it moves, you can bet on it. Like most Sislak said on the
There's a new pro women's hockey league, all right, guys? And basically every game's going under. That's the point. But
money.
Montreal games could go over, actually. Babano just said they got a really good forward and stuff. 101.95. The Raptors do this all the time. They always play tough, and then they fall apart when the game is close late. But we got a 101.95 game. The clip show are up right now. We'll get into the NFL best bets on the other side. And we're getting fired up. Countdown to kickoff is on. Saturday doubleheader. Browns, Texans, Dolphins, Chiefs. Get your glove and jackets out because it's going to be cold on Saturday night.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
So right now he's a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division
I don't care if they win because all we care about is the money, baby. The money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
San Francisco minus 120 to win the NFC Championship. It's the Cowboys with the second best number. The Eagles at 7-1.
What the hell's the difference between the 6th and the 7th seed? I need my guys healthy here to make a playoff push. They took the bye week and still won the football game. You want to talk about two franchises going in the wrong direction? The Eagles. Ridiculous what they did this week.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's a lot of fun to do because you could kind of, place a season-long bet all at once and just wait it out. I've always found that interesting. But New York is one state where it's a little bit unclear.
You cannot bet on basically anything that requires a vote. So you're talking about an MVP award, a Cy Young, a Rookie of the Year, anything where people at the end of the year have to vote.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Bills going on the road to Miami Gardens, knocking off the Dolphins as 3-point favorites. They win it 21-14.
You want to lose like the Falcons did today, 48-17? That's probably bothersome. You want to win an ugly game where you throw 3 picks, but you end up winning the division? No one cares. Ain't nobody going to be talking about interceptions in the end zone tomorrow. You know what they're talking about? Hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers next weekend in the playoffs.
Football Full Circle. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Morency. The Clippers starting to pull away a little bit right now, 106-98. There's 8 minutes remaining in this basketball game. We'll keep our eye on this. Let me just do a quick college basketball check right now and see if there's anything we can jump in on. There's 5 minutes left. USC are up 58-56 on Washington State. USC are laying 3.5 right now with 5:18 left. And Colorado is up on Cal with 12 minutes left. So a little bit of time in this game. 52-44, 12 minutes left. 146.5 is the total. And like Babano was just talking about keeping his eye on, waiting for a 3.5. What I do for these, we always talk about it, college basketball in-game for totals. Keep your eye on the fouls, right? Are we going to the bonus? Like, and how many fouls are the teams at, with how much time left? This one's not too foulish. Like, Cal's in a little trouble. They've already got 4 fouls. There's 12 minutes left. Colorado only have 1 foul. So we'll hold off on the 146.5 right now. We'll see if it dips a little bit. If I can get like a 138 or something like that, I might jump in on the over. Just quickly with hockey, we'll get to the football. The Vancouver Canucks, man, one of the hottest teams this year in the National Hockey League. And they get zero respect from the odds maker. It really is fascinating to see them as underdogs all the time against teams that they're far better than. The Canucks are a lethally good road team as well. They go in New Jersey, they beat Jersey. They go into MSG, they beat the Rangers. They go back to back after that. They go to Belmont, they beat the Islanders. And convincing wins. 3 wins, 17-9. They outscored the opposition. Now they get a day off. They go into Pittsburgh. Number one, they don't have off days like the Canucks. Like, they don't, like, every game is big, talk it every shift. Like, he talks about it. Like, he even says, own every practice. Harbaugh talks about that. Everything you do in practice, do hard. And then it'll translate in the game. Like, they're very intense, this team. And, oh, yeah, by the way, and I'll throw it to you first, Babano, as you know how many connections there are, bro, between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Vancouver Canucks? The Canucks are like the Penguins West, bro. It's all the executives and dudes and and his assistant. Like, it's basically
talking.
Where did Casey Smith come from? Like,
yep.
Yeah,
there's big time connections. Like, they do a lot of trades together. I guarantee it. This is a big game for them. Like, the Canuck players know. Hey, this is a big game for our guys upstairs in the suits and stuff. Like, this is, you know what I mean? Like, it matters to them. So I'm just saying, like, the Canucks are underdogs. So I want to get to football. I'm just throwing it out there. What do you think of that, man? They're plus 105, bro. Against the Penguins.
Yeah, to me, it's a nonsensical line. I mean, I know Pittsburgh can be capable, and on their best night and on Vancouver's worst night, Pittsburgh can win that game. Surely they can. But we're talking about a Canucks team that's rolling right now. And it's not just Besser and Pettersson and the big guns anymore. Like, we're seeing other players. We're seeing Dakota Joshua. We're seeing their depth forwards really start to step up offensively. Absolutely been great. The defense is playing well 1 through 6. Doesn't matter if it's Demko or Casey DeSmith. They're getting solid.
Zadorov was a great acquisition. Oh,
what a move that was! That was so under the radar. That Zadorov move. Like, nobody that guy's wicked. He's good. Like,
Pittsburgh's
doing a lot of really smart things, man. Real smart.
Yeah, I'm telling you, so I just wanted to bring that up, like the connection of Vancouver and Pittsburgh. So the Canucks will be fired up for this. And
3-0
fired up.
3-0 Avs.
Oh, there it is. Well, good call. You only need one more right now.
Yep.
We got a bunch of goals going on for everyone in San Diego. The Gulls are leading Coachella Valley right now to Firebirds, 3-2. There's only about 2.5 minutes left in this game. I've had some success betting the AHL. But let's get into
just quickly
football.
Before football, guys. You mentioned hockey. Yeah. One more. You on a stupid line, in my opinion, with the way they're playing right now. How is Seattle only pick them against Washington right now? Seattle's on fire.
9 in a row.
Just rolling right now.
Yeah, they're only you bet them. You just got to bet them. They're not going to win every game, but what have they won now? 7 or 8 in a row, Babano?
They're 9.
Yep.
9.
And Washington's no world beater. 9. Washington's coming back down to earth too right now.
Washington's old.
Dude, that was free money, man. I took them last night, Seattle, minus 110 in Buffalo.
Okay, it's the Sabres? I'm like, I'm on Seattle. That is Sabre crap. No, Seattle it is.
Well, they're hot. I like Seattle coming into this year, and they were disappointing to start the year. Let's just be real. They suck for the first 2 months, but They're on a 9-game win streak right now. They're getting great goaltending, playing good defensive hockey. All right, so football. I like to sort of shake it up instead of always starting from the front or back right now. We mixed it up a little bit. We started with Brady Cannon earlier, and I went with Monday Night Football. So I'm going to jump into the middle here. Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers, Babano. Big-time weather issues in Buffalo. It's going to be cold. Not super cold, but it'll be cold. But whatever. Pittsburgh and Buffalo, they can deal with the cold part. But the wind, man, 23-mile-an-hour winds. Expected. That stadium does get windy. Sometimes, you'll see the wind in a city, and, the Giants is a good example. I was at that stadium all the time. The wind doesn't go into the stadium. It could be windy in Meadowlands, but the stadium doesn't really get windy the way it was designed. There's no, old days in Meadowlands where they used to open the door and parcels and stuff. Buffalo, this old dump of a stadium gets windy as hell. And as anyone that's been there knows, the wind comes in from all directions. So there's no way to really manage it. You'll notice, watch the game, the flags will be flying all over the place and stuff. So if it's really windy, all right, we got weather conditions here. The total's 36. The Bills are favored by 10, Babano. What do you think of it?
It sounds like, there's a lot of parallels to the wind patterns with the Ticat Stadium, Tim Hortons Field.
Yeah, it's
and
close, same
Highmark
area.
Stadium
Very
in Buffalo.
close. Good call.
Yeah, very similar. And it affects kicking.
The Niagara area. Erie.
Right, no doubt. Yeah, it affects kicking. It affects your ability to throw the football properly. So I understand everybody piling in on the under. Wind is the one factor that will 100% scare me off and over in any football game, especially heavy wind. And I think there's a chance we're going to see that here in this game. I'll be honest, I think it's too many points for me to lay with Buffalo. I haven't gotten to the window on this game yet, but I'm leaning to the dog here with Pittsburgh. Tomlin's been good as an underdog.
You're betting on your computer, so you're not going to get to any window.
Yeah, computer window.
Yeah, just
computer window.
You haven't clicked
Windows.
it yet, Babano. Yeah, you haven't clicked it yet. Yeah.
That's what I mean. I haven't clicked it yet.
You got to get modern.
I'm leaning Pittsburgh. I've been on Pittsburgh pretty much every game since Rudolph's been at quarterback. Took them against Cincinnati. Took them against Seattle. Took them even last week against Baltimore. And they've gotten the job done. They got the run game going a bit. And to me, the Bills right now, to cover this kind of number, you've got to play 60 minutes of good football, clean football, mistake-free football. I still see too many penalties and turnovers from the Bills. And that concerns me on a weekly basis if you're going to be asked to win by this kind of margin. So I'm going to lean Pittsburgh. I'll probably place a small bet, but there are other games I like more this weekend.
The two games in which we're starting to get some line moves right now, the Lions were 3.5-point favorites at most spots. I know there were some threes out there, but it seems to be pretty much 3 right now everywhere. The total is starting to spike up to 51.5. And the Browns are now 2.5-point road favorites. What do you think about the first game up at Battle? Cleveland Browns minus 2.5 in H-Town.
It's a great game. It's fascinating. Can the Joe Flacco magic continue? He's playing like he's 28 years old, not 38 at this point in time. He's been great. He's found chemistry with Amari Cooper. He's found chemistry with David Njoku. And certainly from player prop standpoint, I like player props for both of those guys, whether it's especially receiving yards. Njoku in particular, he's been absolutely terrific. The chemistry with him and Flacco, I could see that developing. And the one thing about playing Houston is you can't throw the football against them. Their secondary hasn't been great. They're pretty good against the run, but you can throw on this Houston defense. So I think Cleveland will go that route. Cleveland's actually become more of a pass-heavy offense down the stretch with Flacco. They're not running the ball with Ford and Hunt, nearly as much. So I think they will throw that ball. Here's the thing with Cleveland. When Cleveland and Houston played weeks ago, and it was a brutal game for Houston, they played awful. Cleveland dominated them. Flacco dominated them. It was Davis Mills and Case Keenum, their quarterbacks that day. They didn't have to face C.J. Stroud. So that's going to change here this time around. And I believe in this kid. He's looked great, composed, poised. Look at the drive he put together, game on the line, season on the line, on the road, tough environment in Indy last week to beat the Colts. He's a tough quarterback to bet against right now as an underdog. And I know it's that rookie quarterback, first-year head coach in the playoffs for the first time, and there's going to be some angles out there and numbers that point to bet against those kind of teams in the first playoff game. But I'm leaning. I like Houston. It's not a lean. I like Houston. I'm going to be on Houston plus 2.5, plus 3 in this spot. And I know 44.5, a lot early part of the season, you think with Cleveland under. I'm not so sure about this game. They're throwing the ball more. I think they can move the ball a bit through the air. And I think Houston with Stroud and will move the ball enough on this Cleveland defense. And let's not forget, the Browns defense has not been nearly as good on the road this year as they have been at home. And you've been able to move the ball against them here in recent weeks. So 44.5, I don't know if it's an against the grain over, but it is an over that I like.
I agree with you. I said it earlier. I think it's just a little too light. 24-21 gets you there.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Exactly.
24-21 gets you there. But you
I
brought
can see
something up
45
about
plus.
Yeah. Rookie quarterbacks in the playoffs, guys. It's a graveyard. It just is. And so the last 10 years, there's not a lot of rookies that actually start playoff games. But the last 10 years, it's happened 6 times. They're 1-5. The one quarterback to win was Brock Purdy. And they were like double-digit favorites. So I think anyone can win with San Francisco, basically. Right? So, and they've been drilled. And there's a list of really good quarterbacks on this list, actually, of rookie quarterbacks. Besides Brock Purdy, like Andrew Luck lost, RG3 lost. They lost by double digits. This is going to be a fun football game. That really could go either way. All right, we'll get more on the other side. We'll get Kev's best bet for the Sony Open.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
Right now, he's a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division
I
favorite.
don't care if they win because all we care about is the money, baby. The money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
San Francisco minus 120 to win the NFC Championship. It's the Cowboys with the second best number. The Eagles at 7-1.
What the hell's the difference between the 6th and the 7th seed? I need my guys healthy here to make a playoff push. They took the bye week and still won the football game. You want to talk about 2 franchises going in the wrong direction? The Eagles. Ridiculous what they did this week.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's a lot of fun to do because you could kind of, place a season-long bet all at once and just wait it out. I've always found that interesting. But New York is one state where it's a little bit unclear.
You cannot bet on basically anything that requires a vote. So you're talking about an MVP award, a Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, anything where people at the end of the year have to vote.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Bills going on the road to Miami Gardens, knocking off the Dolphins as 3-point favorites. They win it 21-14.
You want to lose like the Falcons did today, 48-17? That's probably bothersome. You want to win an ugly game where you throw 3 picks, but you end up winning the division? No one cares. Ain't nobody going to be talking about interceptions in the end zone tomorrow. You know what they're talking about? Hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers next weekend in the playoffs.
Football Full Circle. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
there's been a lot of talk about the OG trade with the Knicks and the Raptors. And the Knicks are lighting it up. OG's fitting right in. Great stuff. But Raptors guys are 4-1 against the spread. This will be their 6th game tonight since the deal. And they're 4-1 against the spread, actually. And we'll see what happens in this game. They're getting 11.5, 12, whatever, depending on your number. It was 11.5 for the most part. They're down 9 right now with 3 minutes left. But the Clippers are ending
down
strong.
7 now. Here they come.
There we go.
Let's go.
Yeah, they're not going to win the game, but let's just hope they can cover the number here.
Exactly. That's all I care about. We cover. Yeah.
I've got an in-game over 240.5 too that might get there, might not get there. We'll see. Okay, so we're talking about the Buffalo Bills. Cam, you think Buffalo is going to destroy Pittsburgh?
Yep.
Cam doesn't trust them. I'm a Bills fan, and I feel pretty comfortable the Bills will win this football game, but I think they will win around the number. I think it 20-10 wouldn't surprise me. 23-10 wouldn't surprise me.
27-9?
I do think Buffalo. I said
good.
27-10 earlier in the week, but it could be 27-10. It could be 27-17. It could be 20. You know what I mean? The Bills could be up 27-13 late, and Pittsburgh scores a garbage touchdown and loses by 7. Right? It's a big number to lay. And the fact is that the weather is what it is. It's going to turn into a ground game. And Pittsburgh can run the ball a bit. But let's bring up the fact, as I said, a couple of reality checks here. TJ Watt, when he doesn't play, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 1-10. He's missed 11 games in his career. They're 1-10 without him. And the big difference is they give up 19.8 with him and nearly 27 points a game without him. He's actually worth nearly a touchdown, man, which is crazy, a full touchdown. So that's an interesting and fun game. I think Buffalo's path is a pretty good one, actually. They're going to host 2 playoff games, and then it could potentially go to Baltimore if Baltimore doesn't get knocked off, because Baltimore have been a flaky playoff team over the years with Lamar Jackson and company. Saturday night, big-time weather check, Babano, in Kansas City, cold as hell. This is one where I'm almost hoping that, it just keeps climbing, and I don't know, it gets to
6.
I'm just hoping the number just keeps climbing and climbing, because nobody is betting on Miami. People just assume point blank, it's cold, they're going to lose the game. And I brought up the numbers. You know what? They're 0-10. The last 10 times it's been 45 degrees or less. Tua is 0-4 in his career when it's 45 degrees or less. It's going to be a hell of a lot colder than 45 degrees in this game. So people are just, boom, they don't have a hope in hell. But crazier things have happened. What's your take on Saturday?
Gosh, I hate to be, with the, it seems like everybody, because you're right, I'm hearing the same thing. I mean, everybody's making a case for Kansas City.
I don't even want to show up. Why are Miami even going?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they've lost already. Yeah, why even go to KC on a cold Saturday night when no one's giving you a chance and they think you're going to get run out of Arrowhead?
But honestly, Babano, KC had problems beating Cincinnati at the end of the year. They won that game by 8. It was not indicative. They've struggled all the time. They've struggled all year. The Raiders they beat the living crap out of this team. I get it. Miami's hot in hot weather. Big deal. That line's gone up to 4.5, Morency. We wait, and that thing's going to go up more. I'm going to take the fish. I think it's too many damn points.
There we go.
What do you
I'm
think,
on
Babano?
KC already, but I took it -3.5. I still would take it now. I mean, I think they can win by 6 or 7. And look, this is not me with a ringing endorsement of the Chiefs, but what concerns me about Miami is this offense against good defenses on the road. All year they've had issues. They got shut down in the second half, even last week against Buffalo in the division championship game against the Bills. So there's concerns. And then they're banged up. They're beaten up. There's no doubt on both sides of the ball. Are Mostert and Waddle going to play on the offensive side? On defense, it's Phillips. It's Chubb. It's Howard in the secondary. And then they're losing D linemen like crazy. They were down to Melvin Ingram. What if Melvin Ingram got hurt last week? I mean, they are ravaged on the defensive side of the football. And, the stats of them on the road, they haven't beaten quality competition away from home. Going to cold weather, and we know how Miami struggled over the years, especially in Buffalo late in the season, playing in cold environments. So there's just not a very compelling case to make for Miami to me. And I hate being with it. It seems like everybody on Kansas City, but here I am on Kansas City, seems like everyone else.
One thing you just said that it's true. I'd like to talk myself into, even though I'm a Bills fan, I don't like the Dolphins. I don't know. I don't like the Chiefs either. So it's almost like I'm trying to talk myself into the Dolphins in this game, but they're so injured. If they were healthy, I would say, you know what? Screw your cold. I don't care about the cold. They're going to be fine, but they're not. They're not themselves. They've fallen apart. And they're not the only ones. It's a long season. You've added games in the NFL. You've noticed a lot of teams start to lose players in the last couple of weeks with these extra sort of games. And Miami just sort of got beat up before the end of the finish line. And I think their lack of bodies is going to be a problem for them, more so than the actual coldness. So listen, we can't go over everything with Bano. We're all long-winded here. We got Cam's golf picks coming up. And for the record, the Clippers just hit a 3. We got a fun one going on. 124, 118. Paul George with a big 3 with 35 seconds left. I had an in-game total over 240 and a half that just hit. The Raptors aren't going away, though, right now. Man, just like last night against the Lakers, the Raptors are going to lose by like a couple of points, but there's no moral victories, but they're going to cover the point spread again. They're down by like 4 with 20 seconds left. Harden's going to be going to the free throw line. My best bet, Babano, and I'll keep coming back to it, I love the Rams. I think the Rams are going to win outright against the Detroit Lions on Sunday night. I hate to do it as a Michigan fan, but it is what it is. What do you like? What's your best bet, Babano? And then we'll get to Cam's golf picks.
Well, we all love our overs, and I do. And there are a couple on Sunday that I like, and you mentioned one of them, Rams and Lions. I think the offense is the strength of both of those teams. Lions defense played good at times. I just think you give McVay an opportunity here to get a game plan together offensively for a playoff game. He's going to move the ball against this Lions team. Now, the Lions might miss Sam Laporta in this game. We'll have to wait and see. That's a big component. But you've got Montgomery and you've got Gibbs in the backfield. You've still got Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's had a terrific season. Some of these other receivers are going to have to step up as well. You know, I think the Rams, too, on defense, good offenses have moved the ball against the Rams. And I think Detroit, especially at home, can do so as well. So I don't love a side in that game. I actually think Detroit wins. I'd lean that way, but I'd definitely much prefer the total. I like the over, and I like the over in Green Bay, Dallas as well. I think you'll see points in that game. I'm going against the Dallas home record here, too. I'm going to take north of a touchdown with Green Bay in that football game because you look at Dallas's last couple home games. I know they're undefeated straight up, but they're life and death to survive Detroit. Pretty good team. They were barely squeaking past Seattle on a Thursday night home game earlier this season. And I love what I'm seeing from the Packers here down the stretch. And they have Jair Alexander back now, too. It's a huge difference maker for them in the secondary. So I think Green Bay can keep that a one-score game. And don't ask me about Bucs-Eagles. I hate that game. I don't want either team. I don't trust either team. So that's an observed game for me.
Ian Cameron, A.K. Babano with us. 126-120 final score at the Crypt. The Clippers get the W. And Kawhi Leonard, of course, former Toronto Raptor, won a championship with the Toronto Raptors. Goes off, always plays well against his former team. Kawhi Leonard finishes with 29 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds tonight. Paul George, 26 points for Paul George. James Harden, 11 assists, 12 points. This team is really starting to click right now. And listen, Kawhi Leonard's been a disappointment with the Clippers, point blank. No one can deny it. But at the same point in time, they're playing well right now. He's healthy right now. And what are they going to do? They're going to let him walk? So they really didn't have a choice but to sort of give him the extension that they did. And quite frankly, I know it sounds crazy to say, but $153 million really isn't a lot of money right now for Kawhi Leonard in the modern NBA and like moving forward as far as the extension is concerned. Coach James Young, who we haven't spoken to in a couple of weeks. Coach James Young has some thoughts on Kawhi Leonard. What is it, Coach?
Steve Ballmer, Mike, had to run it back with this crew going into that new arena. Now, the best part about this really quick is the length. 3 years. That puts Kawhi at about age 30, I think 35. It would put PG at 36. It would put Harden at 37 if they were to do the same thing, put them all together. So what they've done is they extended them, but not in a place where it's going to crush them at the end of their career.
I can't disagree with the coach. Yep. It is what it is. They have a new arena coming up. They built the team right now. This is it. This is going to be the year that they try to go on this run right now. We fall short. I knew that Scotty Barnes is a big popular pick tonight. Only 12 points this evening. RJ Barrett goes off for 24, quickly drops 24. Schroeder scores 22 tonight. Brady Cannon had his golf picks earlier with us. Cam, what do you have for the Sony Open?
A couple the same as Brady. We're going to start off last week with Chris Kirk, Georgia Bulldog. I'll start off with Brian Harmon, the little lefty from Georgia, 22-1. I love him this week. Eric Cole, perfect course for him. 7,000 yards and under. We got to have these guys that keep it in play. Ben On, great top 10 performance last week. He's figuring it out. I love his pick. Here's another one, Gabe, I got for you. Watch out for Justin Suh. This guy is going to be, he's been knocking on the door for a long time. He's very good. California guy, he'll play well in Hawaii. Tom Hoagie sandwich at 80-1 as well. If you can get a bet boost with Matt Fitzpatrick or 20-1 or more, I would suggest that. 2 bombs. This one's for your golf guy, Babano. Stuart Sink. Guy's 53 years old. I don't care. He's 160-1. And nasty Nate Lashley, little sprinkle at 200-1. Top 10s. Harmon, plus 230. Fitzpatrick, plus 190. Gabe, your boy, Connors, plus 170 for a top 20. Brendan Todd, plus 190, another Georgia Bulldog. Old man Cole, but he's young, 2-1 for a top 20. Andrew Putnam, I know Brady had him to win. I love Putnam this week as well, plus 220. And watch out for Ash K. Bhatia, one of the best younger players on tour. We love those guys. Gabe, I got first-round leaders for everybody. We hit Tagala at 45. Let's roll with Babano's guy. Wait a minute, Mr. Poston, 35-1. Canadian Corey Connors at 40. Keegan Bradley's a Thursday Warrior at 60. Justin Suh at 70. What kind of bread do you like? Rye bread with your breakfast. Aaron Rye, 75-1. And an old friend, Moops, Ryan Moore, first-round leader, 125-1 for Moops. He loves short tracks.
Yeah, the first-round leaders are the way to go. Cam hit it last week, 45-1. You don't have to wait 4 days. You get paid in 1 day. I've only got 2
10
picks,
out of 10,
right
Gabe,
now.
with every rapid-fire picks for golf for Cam. He's a 10 out of 10 every time. Look at that. Bing, bing, boom.
Yeah, right before the post, buddy. Yep. What do you like, Gabe?
I'm going to take Russell Henley. We talked about his numbers earlier. He's won here before. He lost in a playoff overtime here before. And he's actually, we talked about his dominance, man. Henley, it's unbelievable. 13 top 20s in his last 16 entries. How the hell do you get in front of that? So I'm going to take him to win. I'm going to take him to win, and I'm going to take him to be top 20 as well. Corey Connors was more just of a gut pick looking at this, and Connors never wins, but he's a good top 10, top 20 type of guy. But I do think he's going to have a good tournament this week, so I think the top 20 is good stuff. Our boy Ghoster in the house, he's going with Cole, Poston, Svensson, McCarthy, and Glover to win it all. All first-round leaders as well, along with Rybread and Justin Rose.
Wow.
This is SportsRage.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run, run, run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
Right now, he's a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division
I
favorite.
don't care if they win because all we care about is the money, baby. The money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
San Francisco, minus 120 to win the NFC Championship. It's the Cowboys with the second best number. The Eagles at 7-1.
What the hell's the difference between the 6th and the 7th seed? I need my guys healthy here to make a playoff push. They took the bye week and still won the football game. You want to talk about two franchises going in the wrong directions? The Eagles. Ridiculous what they did this week.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's a lot of fun to do because you could kind of, place a season-long bet all at once and just wait it out. I've always found that interesting. But New York is one state where it's a little bit unclear.
You cannot bet on basically anything that requires a vote. So you're talking about an MVP award, a Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, anything where people at the end of the year have to vote.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Bills going on the road to Miami Gardens, knocking off the Dolphins as 3-point favorites. They win it 21-14.
You want to lose like the Falcons did today, 48-17? That's probably bothersome. You want to win an ugly game where you throw 3 picks, but you end up winning the division? No one cares. Ain't nobody going to be talking about interceptions in the end zone tomorrow. You know what they're talking about? Hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers next weekend in the playoffs.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, let's do this thing. We're into the 3-minute warning right now. We can tell you Cal are leading Colorado 75-72 with a minute left. And for everybody, all you baseball fans out there, I know it's football season right now, but it was ESPN announced their Sunday night baseball schedule earlier in the day. For everybody in San Diego and SoCal, all you Dodger fans and Dodger haters, we're now just 69 days away, man. Well, we will be at midnight, whatever. East Coast, West Coast. We're on everywhere. So 69 on the East, 70 days on the West Coast away only from the start of Major League Baseball, which is pretty crazy. It's not that far off at all. And I'll tell you what, there's still a lot of unsigned players right now. But for the record, it starts Wednesday, March 20th at 6 a.m. Eastern time. So 3 o'clock for us. And I can't wait for this as a Dodger fan. And you can't make this up that they're actually going to be in Asia. And they're not going to be in Japan. They're going to be in Seoul, the Seoul series. Los Angeles and San Diego renew the rivalry on Wednesday, March 20th at 6 a.m., Thursday, March 21st at 6 a.m. And then there's another, the North American opening day is freaking early too. March 28th, the Cubs at the Rangers. So for the record, Dodgers and San Diego are the first two. You got the Cubs and the Rangers. Cardinals at Dodgers on March 31st. Astros, Rangers. Another San Diego Dodgers matchup Sunday, April 14th at Chavez Ravine. Rangers at Braves. The thing that stuck out to me was the fact that the Yankees are only on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball 3 times this year, but they can adjust late in the season. So countdown to kickoff is on. We'll be back tomorrow night. We'll start to get into the props, player props, and everything else in between as this stuff starts to get realer right now. And who the hell knows who's going to retire, get fired tomorrow in the world of football. Nick Saban, congratulations, and hell of a career, man. Think about it, man. 17 years at Alabama. Guy wins 6 freaking championships.
Amazing.
Well done, Coach. Well done. Other than that, you're on your own. Later.